woman is the mother of the nation. When you lift the woman, you raise the nation. The 4 dimensions of healing: spiritual, psychological, emotional, and physical. WMC, JLTV, the World Media Coalition, Jazz Lovers Television Network, television production of Healing from Our Trauma, the Strength of a Woman, with the healing empress, Joanne Labastide. Healing from Our Trauma, the Strength of a Woman, Monday, May 2nd, World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network brings to you the Divine Feminine, the Strength of a Woman, Healing from Our Trauma. Bringing the healing energy of Miss Joanne Labastide and the vision of the spiritual healing of the 4 dimensions of healing: spiritual, psychological, emotional, and physical. World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network, Monday, May 2nd, 1 p.m. on our Telegram network.
Hey, greetings everybody. This is World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television, another Monday show. Welcome, Joanne Labastide and Magakova Leobey. Greetings. Glad to see you.
Thank you.
Udmakiyo, Julu King Fritzen, coming out of Lugansk People's Republic, our technical producer on the ground there in the conflict zone. And Miss Joanne Labastide, how are you?
I am very well, thank you. I'm looking forward to this, and thank you so much for having me.
Well, we want to thank you for being a part of this production and to give you an opportunity to talk about your healing, your spiritual healing that you do. But before we get into that, I want to ask my technical producer in Lugansk People's Republic to give us an update on the situation on the ground there in the territory that they call the Ukraine.
Yeah, if we be correct, Lugansk People's Republic, we not Ukraine anymore. Like you know, from 2014, we are independent republic. Even the Europe and the United States governments don't recognize us, but we still organize ourselves, and we built today with Russian Federation. And like you know, in Ukraine today is a big conflict, but mostly media show it like the invasion of Russia, but it's not true. It is the civil war between Russian people that living in mostly in Ukraine, mostly in east-south part of Ukraine, and between the west part of Ukrainian people, so where many nationalists groups, military Nazi groups that using symbols and the weapons of fascists, like back in the days was in Nazi Germany regime. So today these military groups try and bring the control about the Ukrainian government, and that's why the conflict was started in 2014 and still goes on 8 years. Civil war between our people. So Ukrainian government try and make Russophobia and genocide of Russian people in Ukraine. So that's why we have independence and divide our territory from Ukraine and called it Lugansk People's Republic. And that's why in 2022, this year, in February, Russia Federation starts a special operation to defend our people, Russian-speaking people in Lugansk People's Republic from these military groups. And that's today Russia continue help us, and not only with military, but also with food. We have humanitarian catastrophe in some regions where people have no food, gas, water, and you see on the video, this is the Russian activists that bring to our city, to Kirovsk town, where I'm some food, some medicine, some water to our people in the medical building. Because we today have also many refugees from Ukrainian territory, refugees that don't want to live in Ukraine, and they escape from Ukrainian regime to our independent Lugansk People's Republic, and these people, refugees today, living in the buildings, social buildings, where our government trying to help them survive, because their buildings was destroyed by Ukrainian army, and these people today have no home, have no buildings. So you see on this video, this is the head of our city that talking about helping for refugees that came from Ukraine to Lugansk People's Republic. So we continue our our soldiers of Lugansk People's Republic continue save lives of these refugees, the people who don't want to live in Ukrainian regime. So they try and take care of these people in our territory in Lugansk People's Republic. So we continue the struggle and hope soon we will be have victory over this modern fascism in Ukraine, and we can feel free and more better, because these military groups, they hate all Russian people. They trying to making politics of genocide and Russophobia. So that's what's going on today.
Thank you, Ken Fixon. I just want to give you an update on what's happening here with the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. On Saturday, I met with my colleagues on Long Island. I'm here in New York, by the way. and I'll be here for another 3.5 weeks or more. Then I'm headed to Virginia before I go back to Georgia. I had this meeting on Saturday, and the meeting was with the CEO and president of the Dawson Home Improvement Development Corporation, as well as the 98.7 KISS FM, the magazine.com. 98.7 KISS FM, the magazine.com is actually the radio station that has been copyrighted and brand protected by the Dawson Home Improvement Community Development Incorporated. So all of the productions from 98.7 FM are in the possession of Dawson Home Improvement Development Association, and 98.7 KISS FM, along with the World Media Coalition Television Network, will be working to develop the 5 elements of hip hop award ceremony during Hip Hop History Month, the Zulu Nation anniversary, and the hip hop anniversary. On Monday of next week, there is a conference call, and when I get the link, Zulu King 6, and I'll send it to you so you can send it out to your contacts in the Zulu Nation. The conference call will be with Captain Dennis, who has the peacemakers group in this country, and within 34 chapters throughout the country. He's with the Nation of Islam. We did the production with him a couple of weeks ago, as you remember. He's having a conference call with Russell Simmons, some of the other people in the hip-hop industry, discussing channeling the hip-hop music back into a positive vein. So we're going to be on that call next Monday night so we can address them with our strategy with the 5 elements of hip-hop awards ceremony. So that's what's coming down the pike here. Ahmad will not be able to give his report from Brazil today. He's trapped. However, we have our guests, the illustrious spiritual healing master, Ms. Joanne Labastide. Welcome again to the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network production, Healing from Our Trauma.
And sorry, before we start, I found the video. I trying to find it quickly to prove that Nazism is in Ukraine exists. You see, this is the soldier of Donetsk People's Republic that also find like our Lugansk People's Republic soldiers against Ukrainian fascism, and on the broken Ukrainian Nazi positions, war positions, he is found the flag of this Nazi military group, and you can see now. I will show you the swastiks on this flag. So it is the modern fascism, like you see the swastiks in the center of this flag. You see the eagle and also the swastik, black swastik. So this is the example of modern fascism in Ukraine, and these groups that called Battalion Azov, it is the main Nazi Ukrainian military group that control the Ukrainian government. Thanks.
Yes. Good to know. Keep up the truth coming out that the mainstream media is not addressing. Ms. Labastide, give us your beginnings with your healing modality, your spiritual healing modality, and how you began to manifest your business.
Okay. The name is Labastide, and I am from Trinidad and Tobago, and in the Caribbean, we have been, I want to say, sometimes assaulted with many religious backgrounds. And I grew up in a Christian tradition, And I was later exposed to the African tradition. And it is through that that medium that I got this gift of healing. It was through a vision, actually, what we would call a dream or a vision, because we all know the prophets of the days gone by, they always receive dreams and visions. But you have to align yourself, of course, and this is what I did. And I received that dream, and I wasn't sure what to do with it or what it was about. But as time went on, it developed. It developed into a hands-on healing modality. And it would just be the touch of the hand and would produce amazing results. Anytime it didn't produce results, I knew that it was more of a medical situation, because we all know that we get dis-ease from every level, from the physical, from the mental, emotional, and spiritual levels. So whenever someone has a particular issue or problem, they would sometimes go to the doctors. The doctors may not be able to find a cause. They would go to, they would check their mind, they would check their emotions, because we can create diseases in our bodies. And also they check the spiritual. So with that, over the years, and this is over 30 years, I have had the experience of really getting into the lives of many, many people of all backgrounds, of all religious persuasion. That did not matter. Anytime there was a problem and somebody seek me out, I would handle it. And throughout the years, I've learned a lot along the way. And, I incorporated a lot of different teachings, I would say, into that practice. I came to the United States about 15 years ago. And as soon as I landed, I have to put it like this, I enrolled in a healers preparation program, and that's where I learned Reiki. And so I became after a while, I became a Reiki master, like for the past 10 years or so. And with the mixture, or should I say the combination of the spiritual background and healing and Reiki, it has become something that is really powerful. I wouldn't say so much different, but just on another level. Another level of healing has taken place. So all my clients, they just have only the best things to say as regards whenever they have a session with me. So this is where I am so far. Because of the way the spiritual part developed, I counsel a lot. I did a lot of counseling, and over the years, it has become way, way, way. I wouldn't want to say out of control, but it has become very, very vast and far, very far. And just up to last night, I was on the phone with a client in England and one in Jamaica, a three-way call. I don't even know the young ladies, but they have had such benefits from just speaking with me and so on. So I will be launching soon my coaching and counseling program. Well, I would still be doing the healing, and on just a larger scale. So that's where I am now with this. And the experiences throughout the years have been amazing. Scary sometimes, but amazing. So I take everything in stride and I go forward with it.
Now, when you say scary sometimes, give an indication of what you're speaking about and what some of those experiences are.
Okay, when I say scary, I mean that through the African tradition, because that tradition was told to us that it's really evil and bad and negative and all of that, I realized that people get scared. Even if some people hear a drum beat, they get scared. So because the brainwashing was so complete as regards how to divorce these people from their origin. So with me, when I go into a situation, the person might have a pure Christian background or Muslim background or Hindu background. And when certain things come up, they would get scared, and I have to comfort them and explain to them what is the real meaning behind some of these things. So it would take the form of like channeling, and it would take the form of channeling sometimes in different languages. We call it speaking in tongues. And some people speak in tongues and not sure what they're saying or not sure what they're doing. But sometimes with me, I have had the experience, and I could only talk from my experience. I've had the experience where I would feel the energy of the language coming up in my chest, like in my heart. And when it comes out, I try to bring it out in English. So, it would be a little interesting. But the language, the accent is usually still there. So it could be the native tongue of what we call native Indians, or it would be like African tongues. It would be Chinese. It would be Japanese. It would be any language where the ancestors choose to come through from. And I would bring it out in English and translate for the person what is the message or what is to be done. So sometimes the energy could be very intense, and not everybody could really handle it. So this is why I say sometimes it could be a little scary for some, because they're not used to that aspect of themselves or seeing it in action type of thing. Also, I could bluntly say that I've had a lot of experiences with spiritual beings, and not all are on the higher level vibration. So I've had to deal with many low vibration energies, and I have been able to manage them, because I feel that being selected with a gift, you also get the backings and the backup of the universe to handle those things.
Excellent. Now you just said that you have experiences with beings that are, you didn't use this term, but are deceased. Some people would call them apparitions, others would call them haints or ghosts. And you also mentioned the different vibratory frequencies of some of these beings, lower vibratory frequencies and higher vibratory frequencies.
Yes.
In dealing with them, the lower vibratory frequency entities, what are the elements that they come with that may harm people who aren't as in tune with you or as strong as you spiritually?
Okay, so what I have noticed is when like someone is sick or possessed, I call it possessed because, after a while when you take away all the layers, you realize, okay, this is a straight possession, and there is an energy or entity on that person. They actually speak to you, because the way I approach it, I wouldn't really go into details how I approach it, but it's usually with my hands, and they come up through the person. Sometimes I have to tell them, there is only one person that belongs to this body, and you are not that person. So we will get into little talks and arguments about it. But they actually come up and they talk through that person. And most times they are sent. They are sent by other individuals. Most times they are displaced souls that are not resting. I could tell you of one instance where there was a young lady who was very much possessed, and I couldn't even like do all of the things for her to get it out, and I had to take her to many different places, and we worked with her for like a couple of weeks. And the energy, I asked him, why don't you leave? And he said, because I don't know how. And I said, what happened? He said, as soon as I crossed over, I was trapped and sent to this family to destroy them. So it's not that he wanted to be there. And I've encountered that a few times. It is not that the spirit or the energy wants to be there, but because they are of a lower vibration, like when they were alive, let us put it this way, when they were alive, they didn't develop themselves. So they just lived, and they didn't develop any kind of spiritual life or any kind of spirituality and so on. And I'm not talking religious life, even though that helps a bit because it does have its merit. But that person may not have developed themselves to that degree, so that when they pass on, they're buried and what have you. And if they're not even buried properly, you could have a problem too. So that energy just did not know what to do because he was also very lost. He told me about his life. He was also very lost as regard. So now I had to address him. So I don't look at everything in that situation as evil per se, because there is a reason why everything. There's always a reason. So some people will say, oh my gosh, this, that, and get scared and get this. I kind of try to get into why, what's happening here, what is the background of this, that, and the other, you know? So we were able to send him home. I put it like this. We were able to send him home and at peace, and then she recovered.
Excellent, excellent. Now, you and I have known each other for quite a few years.
Yes.
And I remember the day that you and I were going to a particular cemetery in Brooklyn. And you do a lot of work in cemeteries of that nature. Explain, without going into too much detail, that is your trade.
Yeah, I won't.
What those experiences do to help elevate your ability to deal with people?
Cemeteries carry the energy of those who have passed on. And like I just mentioned, if a person is not properly buried, that soul can linger just in a different area. Let us put it in the astrosphere. And sometimes we need to really do rituals to put them to rest and for them to continue on their journey, because they do have other things to do on the other side. But some are just very much attached to. We have those who are attached and so on. So for me, over the years, I have learned that it's the only difference is that we have a body and they don't anymore. But the experiences, the feelings, the stress, the whatever is the same. At least that's how they express it. And this is where sometimes I have to comfort them and let them know, but look around you, you are no longer in this particular situation. It's almost as though the moment that they cross over with that experience and they keep that, not knowing there is more. So sometimes I have to enlighten them that there is more to it than that. Sometimes they may stay here because of guilt. Sometimes they may stay here because of attachment to places, to people, to things. Sometimes they stay here because, like I say, improper burial. Burial is a very high elevated kind of science, and it's not every and anybody who's not assigned to that can do it. So sometimes you get a burial, yes, from a church and whatever, and the spirit comes right home back with you because it wasn't properly done. And I've seen that already too. But it has helped me to understand the both sides. So we are not so different from them, and they are not so different from us. It's just that one is lacking a body. And the thing about it is, we love to hold on to this vehicle, this body, because we love to experience. But when you go there, you don't experience as much, and there's limitations to there, again, at a certain level, So it has helped me a lot with seeing things from a really broad perspective. I don't shun anything. I don't judge anything because of that, because of my experiences. I realize that we are limited in the way we think about things because of, our perception and what we are taught. But I know life taught me, and so I can freely say this, and that has been my experience.
That's excellent. Now, what you're saying to me brings to mind, and I don't usually quote the Bible because I'm not into the narrative of Christendom, so that it governs my life. Spirituality governs my life.
Yes.
But there is a quote in the Book of Revelation that's attributed to Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and that quote says,
Joshua.
according to the so-called Jesus, that you will not be free until after the second death.
Mm-hmm.
And I interpret that to mean exactly what you're speaking about, that death is not finality.
No.
Death is the passing through a doorway into another dimension.
Yes.
So it actually becomes the interpretation of that verse means that you will not be free until after the second death. So that means you will pass you twice. You will die 2 times. But it also means you will be born 3 times. So the second is, or the first death is if you will, is going into that dimension, even though it may be lower or higher vibration frequencies in that dimension, is going into that dimension that you have been dealing with for so long because of the spiritual gift that you have been endowed with. And when you speak about higher vibrational frequencies that people attain to because of the ability to attain a spiritual in the physical form, that dimension is the second death, which takes us to the higher heaven. So the entities that you deal with in this realm of the vibratory frequency of the vortex that puts the earth, the lower heavens, and the vortex of the earth allows you to bring that knowledge to people like us, so to give us the ability to have a greater understanding of what the afterlife is. Am I correct?
Yes. Yes.
So,
And
yeah, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now, speak to us in reference to what your vision for your healing, spiritual healing modality that you're beginning to start your business around. And give us the name of, or the name that you have adopted so far, and have you incorporated or established a DBA or LLC yet?
Okay, so I'm in the process of doing an LLC, but so far I have just holistic energy healing. And holistic is just all around energy healing. And it's really inclusive. It's very inclusive because there's so many dimensions to it. There's so many dimensions to it. We tend to categorize things and put them in little boxes and take care of the symptoms of this, the symptoms of that, and the symptoms of the other, and not looking at the whole picture. So we really have to look at the whole picture of a person to really get to the root of the problem and sort it out. You know that actually, I would say over 75% of illness and disease is psychosomatic. We have created a lot of stuff ourselves. So, you know, the saying that we create our own hell and heaven right here, that is the statement. And I also have, well, my perception of this is this. We have had, yes, you talk about the 1 or 2 lives and deaths, but we have had many, many lifetimes here. And when you try to put it in perspective, it's like a soul is going through different stages and stages and stages of development. And every birth that that soul takes, you learn a little bit more, you learn a little bit more. And everybody has a purpose. And every soul has a different purpose on this side. And when I say this side, I mean this planet. And when we pass on with, you know, whatever our experiences are, etc. And those experiences are actually stored. They're stored in our cell memory, DNA, and in our brain. And that's a whole different topic. But so when that information is stored, when a person decides to take another birth to balance their karma and balance their self and to learn new lessons or to experience something different, whenever they do take that birth, they actually come with some of these things. But the divine has organized our lives in such a way that we cannot recall everything because we would go crazy. We can't even recall what's going on in our in our younger years. We go crazy because too much information. So what we are allowed is a certain amount of information for this incarnation, and we work with it. Sometimes we get a glimpse. We do get glimpses, and you know, sometimes we dismiss it as strange or some dream or something, and sometimes we have an idea what it is, and so on. But why I'm saying this is when we come with different memories, different cell memories, and so on, we experience flashbacks, as per se. We experience flashbacks. Like a person may have a persistent pain that they developed in their chest, in their foot, in the back, and they just can't understand. They have done everything under the sun possible to figure it out. And doing like a past life regression, you'd realize that that's how they were killed, or that's how they passed, or that's how they died. So that memory is still there. But once that information is passed on to that person, the symptoms disappear. So it's just proof to show that it wasn't really real, but it's just a memory. Because the mind is one of the most amazing things. And we can create and we can destroy with our minds. But we just have to remember how to do it and learn it again. But the mind can create anything and the mind can destroy anything.
Amazing. Amazing. So the beauty of life is in its eternal manifestation of the spirit and the spiritual DNA that's contained in our molecular and cellular structure.
Yes.
You're actually seeing can be tapped through the development of our consciousness, correct?
Yes. 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 And this is the plan. You know, this is what I think the divine is hoping for all of us. For us to reach that stage of development, to us to be curious as to why we're here, who are we, what's going on. Once you reach that stage of curiosity, and the answers would come to you. Once you're on a path and you're seeking, the answers would come to you. But you just have to align yourself. You just have to, you know, it's something that it's available to everyone, every single one. But what we have to also realize is that as a soul developing, you start at, let us say, at a lower level, and you develop through incarnations, because you cannot come to this university of life or the earth and come in at graduation level. You would come in at, you know, the grade 1s, the grade 2s, and so on and so on, and you develop. You develop as a soul and as a spirit, and you go up the ladder. And the whole thing is to achieve that state where you can now come back and help others to develop also.
You spoke about speaking in tongue,
Mm-hmm.
and you spoke about vibratory frequency.
Mm-hmm.
Sound is vibration, so any tongue that people speak in is a vibration of that energy.
Yes.
And the chair, when I say the chair, I'm speaking about the infinite intelligence that people refer to God, Allah, Buddha, whatever.
Yeah.
But the chair, I was going through some things over several decades and seeking a healing modality to take off this disease that I was suffering from. And then the chair spoke to me and gave me a vibratory frequency that I'd like to share with you. It's a tongue. And many of you have heard me say, Udama Akayu, line of the new dawn. The line is our consciousness. The new dawn is the resurrection of our consciousness, the vibratory frequency of spiritual liberation. So embracing that tongue, that's what the chair gave me, also embraced and opened up the opportunity for me to receive my spiritual name, Makakuvu. So during my healing sojourn, the chair gave me this vibratory frequency. Hajim Makatasi Umma, Hajim Makatasi Umma, Hajim Makatasi Umma. And as I began to accept that vibratory frequency, the meaning of it I became aware of the meaning of it. And the meaning of it is one must develop the ability to communicate with the molecular and cellular structure. And when I began to realize the meaning of that Hajim Makatasi Ummah, it made it clear to me that the molecular structure and the cellular structure has more knowledge contained within it than our conscious mind can perceive of. And
Yes.
if our mind is allowed to go into its proper state of silence and peace, that information from our molecular and cellular structure will begin to teach us a greater wisdom than sitting in a classroom.
Totally. Totally. And you'll have to understand that we had that knowledge before. And throughout time, it was taken away from us, and we were encouraged to do the opposite. So hence, this is where we are. Because this knowledge is ancient, this knowledge has always been, and we know it. We know it, but it was taken away from us. And strange enough, it was taken away by those who actually use it.
Right.
You know, so we are at a disadvantage, especially us, and it's just so much to be done as regards just healing and bringing an awareness. Because once the awareness is sparked, you want to find out why and how and everything else. Not only about yourself, but the reflection of you. And the reflection of you is all of your kind.
And that is the significance of Udama Akayua. As I said before, that Udama Akayua is the vibratory frequency of spiritual liberation. So what your path is a path that has allowed you to not only embrace your spiritual liberation, but to be able to develop a spiritual medicine, as you will, if you will, that will allow people to experience their own spiritual liberation.
Yes, yes, yes.
One of to develop your business is a very unique business. It's such a a high level business that people will have who are of low vibrational frequency will be afraid in the beginning because your energy and your presence may become so overwhelming to them that they will shy away until they are able or comfortable enough within themselves to read their own spiritual energy to be able to align with you.
Well, it happens sometimes. It does happen sometimes. But there's an aspect of me also that is so relatable that it's very easy to make contact. So, with people. So I really don't have a problem with it.
Good.
Or a problem hasn't really developed. Throughout, like for instance, I would approach through Reiki, but I will also explain what can happen at in a session. And I may end up, bringing messages to the person or, getting a particular thing because Reiki is very non-invasive. So with Reiki, the Reiki energy goes where it's needed. But because of my background with the spirituality, you find that there is a little blend to it. And so the person experiences so much more. And I have to really talk to some before and tell them that if you hear me say certain things in a different language also, or if if there's a excessive amount of energy that might, an outburst of energy, don't be scared and stuff like that. And strange enough, I've learned over the years how to tone it down. And also, in between all of that, I would still make a joke with the person and get them at ease and then go right back to it. It's just like I'm able to do that. I somehow able to do that. One thing I wanted to mention though is like when I am dealing with like spirits from like a lower level vibration, what happens is they cannot look at me. They cannot look at me in the eyes. As soon as they look at me, they have to bend their head, they bow. So that's when I know where they're from and what's going on with them. And that is also when I know that the energy is still in the person. Because if that person cannot look at me in my eyes, well, then that's it. I know you're still there, as much as they want to proclaim different.
Well, you're speaking about something I was thinking while you were talking earlier, because you have a unique pair of eyes.
Okay.
And your eyes are silver. And the silver in your reflection in your eyes are the spiritual veil that allows you to see. So my question now becomes, using the spectrum from which your vision emanates, what type of work do you do with crystals in your spiritual healing?
Crystals and I have a strange relationship. um, they tell me that because I don't feel them, because I tell people I don't feel them. I don't feel them. And the crystals told me that I don't feel them because we're one and the same. So I said, okay. So I can just hold them and charge them and it would do many things. But then I could hold a stone from the yard and do anything with it too, because everything is a crystal. It's just that some crystals are formed in different conditions and people, because one day I asked the question, who direct that this crystal is for this and this crystal is for that? And I was told that, different people channel different energies and this and that, and this is how they get their messages. But I really can't limit them to just this or that or the other. They are so much more. There's so much more. It's just like I can take a pebble from the yard and do the same thing that I can do with a quartz or with opal or whatever. It's just that some are more beautiful than some in the sense of what we like and what we don't like. That is just our choice. But crystals really carry crystal Crystals are the earth keepers. They are one of the earth keepers. And they carry all the information of the beginning to now. And there was no beginning. So they just carry the information of all the elements, of all the experiences, of all the everything that has happened everywhere in the universe. So sometimes when we have a crystal and we charge it to do this, because some people wouldn't do without their crystals at all. And I have them and I use them. I have them sometimes on me and sometimes not. But they do complain that I should have them more with me. So, so I have to be a little circumspect with them sometimes. But it's like anything else. It's like any tree or any plant or anything that is created. Everything has that energy, that whole universal energy about it. Actually, I wrote a book on spirits and spirituality, and it's yet to be published. It's finished, but it's yet to be published. And I kind of went into detail about that. That we are made up of the same stuff. It's just different levels of vibration. That's all it is. And when we see how simple things could be, because we love to overcomplicate everything. As somebody told me recently, stop worrying. But yeah, we tend to, as human beings, overcomplicate everything. And it's really kind of simple. I've learned that really over the years, that it is really simple. But it's what you entertain, it's what you put out, you receive, stuff like that. So just the universal laws into play.
Well, people have a tendency to complicate things because most people have a difficult time quieting their mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's the constant motion of the mind that they become afraid of, so they make excuses for things, and in the process overcomplicate the reality of peace within.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that you will publish your book soon.
Yes, it has to be done before the end of the year because it's long overdue.
And hopefully the purpose of this production to get you to speak about what you do will help lift your business to a level that it will thrive, and people not only will benefit from it, but will learn from within themselves the ability to harness the same energies that you.
Yes.
Mrs. Capers listening. Mrs. Capers, can you hear us? Do you have any questions that you would like to ask Ms. Labastide?
I don't have anything, but I'm very happy that I joined today because I've been familiar with channeling for a long time. My sister-in-law is a channeler, and she's written 3 books and published them. So it is something that is helpful, and I can attest that what you're saying is true.
Excellent. Well,
Yes.
I know that Zulu Victor has mentioned.
I can't hear you.
Is the coordinator for the work.
Your sound, your mic is breaking up.
My mic is breaking up. Is that better?
Yes, now better.
Okay. I was saying that Mrs. Capers is the administrative coordinator for the project that we're working on.
Your mic again break it up.
How's that?
Much better.
Yeah, much better.
There's a feedback, but it's better.
Yeah. Well, my battery is going. It happens like that. Battery goes down. But, I was saying, coordinator for the World Media Coalition, and the Gambia Roots Return to the Flotilla, and all the projects that we to bring and solutions to the upliftment of our people. Zulu can fix up the pictures and the videos up on the show of 98.7 magazine.com.
Okay.
That is actually the website, the online radio television network. And there's a video too, a 1-minute video fixing with that.
Okay, I will be showing the picture.
Yes. And you see many entertainers and celebrities on the website, and the DJs from the 98.7 Kiss FM radio station. And the interesting thing about this is that my business associate was able to do something that they never did. And because they never did it, he was allowed to gain control of the entire network. It was never copyrighted. It was just a slogan, a radio slogan, 98.7. And because they never brand protected it or copyrighted it, he was able to do that. And now,
wow. Yes, that's important.
I have to read this shit quick.
So I want to thank everyone for being in the production.
XFM, the magazine, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to preserving history in its most unique forms. As freelance journalists, we have decided to take on the challenging task of capturing 30 years history of the longtime indie radio station 98.7 XFM in New York, better known around the world as 98.7 Kiss FM. We intend to preserve each of those memorable years to present each of those years to you in the form of collectible monthly magazine issues, and also through the issues of internet. We will introduce all of the radio air personalities, staff members, street teams, and the legendary DJs that played an important role in those historical moments.
So that's what is in our possession now with the World Media Jazz Television Network platform. It gives us the ability to have a tremendous impact worldwide. Checking this out, Frixton, the production trailer that you opened up with, the second one, play that again as we go out, and then bring on the music that we go out with behind that, please. I want to thank everyone for coming on today. It's been a very informative production with the spiritual healing empress, Miss Joanne Labastide.
And before we end, I also show you, the seed. Miss Joanne don't know the seed hunt, but the seed hunt from India that now study in Russia. So he's also working with me on our radio. We built the students radio, and want to show you little promo about seed, how it's doing.
Мне всегда есть чем заняться. Сейчас я иду на эфир нефтерадио.
Да, это нефтерадио Тугенту.
Нефтерадио – это студенческая
Siddhanta is main activist in the students radio in Ufa City, Ufa University.
Студенческие новости. События из жизни университета. Нефтерадио. Все прямо из радиостудии УГНТУ. Нефтерадио. Да, это нефтерадио Тугенту.
Мы можем...
Today he can't join us, but when he have time, he also join us.
Много людей из СНГ, это Казахстан, Узбекистан. На нефтерадио ведущими являются как мы студенты, так и школьники, будущие студенты, так и те, кто давно уже закончил университет. И иногда...
And today we also join with university at some members of schools of Russia. So the Russian children today, including with Siddhant, also students' radio stations, they put the music that they like and make the production of their shows. Last show that they did, it was about the urban life, how to bring more good joys of how make area around the city more better. So it's good that children today think about important things, how to make the more better environment where they live. So, okay, thank you very much again to join us today. Was very interesting to hear about the holistic healing. I not know about this, but always interesting to study new knowledge about the healing, because the health is main that we have in this life. When we will have health, we can feel positive and can feel more better. So thank you very much. Hope you will join us again in our next meetings online, this Telegram.
Yes, I will. And thank you for having me again.
And this is the World Media Coalition Jazz Lovers Television Network. I'm Makakuvu Ali. We want to thank everyone for participating and helping us grow this network. And as it continues to grow, it will manifest much more positive energy for humankind.
Thank you.